right, shalom, shalom, shalom. You are live and direct once again with your Akazaki Yahoo, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say shalom, wa baruchim. That is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait till the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High power, under one covenant, back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone, with our enemies, our adversaries, and all those who hate us under our feet. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yes, indeed. I am joined this evening by my most esteemed Kenaniah. Shalom, my king.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Aki. Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Call halal Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Wa Malak Yahweh Shah. Barakatah.
Hallelujah. All praises to Yahweh in the name of his beloved son, Yahweh Shah, the Messiah and King. Bless you. Hallelujah. We are back again on this Yom Shishi evening for another video review. We have a great treat for you, a couple of dynamic videos for you. Number one, we got our dear brother Malcolm X. Man, you love this brother like I love it. I love this brother, man. I love to hear him speak. You know, I wish I could have met this brother. He was a little bit before my time, but man, this was a real brother right here. You know what I'm saying? This was a real deal brother. And if you have, I'm sure you watched the movie, you are familiar with his ascension to where he was, where he ended up, and of course what got him assassinated. So before he died, he was starting to preach the truth. And man, I just imagine what Brother Malcolm would have meant to the so-called black community if he'd have been dropping the truth before his demise. So, well, he was, but if he would have continued, you know, had more time to drop it and would have died of old age, that would have been miraculous. So, praises to the Abba. We're going to get to the video and hope that you are edified in this. Shout out to our good brothers over at Black Journals for this wonderful video. Let's get to it here.
Serious problem. Not only does America have a very serious problem, but our people have a very serious problem. America's problem is us. We're her problem. The only reason she has a problem is she doesn't want us here. And every time you look at yourself, be you black, brown, red, or yellow, a so-called Negro, you represent a person who poses such a serious problem for America because you're not wanted. Once you face this as a fact, then you can start plotting a course that will make you appear intelligent instead of unintelligent. What you and I need to do is learn to forget our differences. When we come together, we don't come together as Baptists or Methodists. You don't catch hell because you're a Baptist, and you don't catch hell because you're a Methodist. You don't catch hell because you're a Methodist or a Baptist. You don't catch hell because you're a Democrat or a Republican. You don't catch hell because you're a Mason or an elk. And you sure don't catch hell because you're an American, because if you was an American, you wouldn't catch no hell. You catch hell because you're a black man. You catch hell, all of us catch hell for the same reason. So we are all black people, so-called Negroes, second-class citizens, ex-slaves. You are nothing but an ex-slave. You don't like to be told that. But what else are you? You are ex-slave. You didn't come here on the Mayflower. You came here in a slave ship, in chains, like a horse or a cow or a chicken. And you were brought here by the people who came here on the Mayflower. You were brought here by the so-called pilgrims or founding fathers. They were the ones who brought you here. We have a common enemy. We have this in common. We have a common oppressor, a common exploiter, and a common discriminator. So once we all realize that we have this common enemy, then we unite on the basis of what we have in common. And what we have foremost in common is that enemy, the white man. He's an enemy to all of us. I know some of you all think that some of them aren't enemies. Time will tell. in Bandung, back in, I think, 1954, was the first unity meeting in centuries of black people. And once you study what happened at the Bandung Conference and the results of the Bandung Conference, it actually serves as a model for the same procedure you and I can use to get our problem solved. At Bandung, all the nations came together. They were dark nations from Africa and Asia. Some of them were Buddhists. Some of them were Muslim. Some of them were Christian. Some of them were Confucianists. Some were atheists. Despite their religious differences, they came together. Some were communists. Some were socialists. Some were capitalists. Despite their economic and political differences, they came together. All of them were black, brown, red, or yellow. The number one thing that was not allowed to attend the Bandung Conference was the white man. He couldn't come. Once they excluded the white man, they found that they could get together. Once they kept him out, everybody else fell right in and fell in line. This is the thing that you and I have to understand. And these people who came together didn't have nuclear weapons. They didn't have jet planes. They didn't have all of the heavy armaments that the white man has, but they had unity. They were able to submerge their little petty differences and agree on one thing, that though one African came from Kenya and was being colonized by the Englishmen, and another African came from the Congo and was being colonized by the Belgian, and another African came from Guinea and was being colonized by the French, and another came from Angola and was being colonized by the Portuguese. When they came to the Bandung Conference, they looked at the Portuguese and at the Frenchmen and at the Englishmen and at the other Dutchmen and learned or realized that the one thing that all of them had in common, they were all from Europe. They were all Europeans, blonde, blue-eyed, and white-skinned. They began to recognize who their enemy was. The same man that was colonizing our people in Kenya was colonizing our people in the Congo. The same one in the Congo was colonizing our people in South Africa and in southern Rhodesia and in Burma and in India and in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. They realized all over the world where a dark man was being oppressed, he was being oppressed by the white man. Where the dark man was being exploited, he was being exploited by the white man. So they got together under this basis, that they had a common enemy. And when you and I here in Detroit and in Michigan and in America, who have been awakened today, look around us, we too realize here in America, we all have a common enemy. Whether he's in Georgia or Michigan, whether he's in California or New York, he's the same man. Blue eyes and blonde hair and pale skin. Same man. So what we have to do is what they did. They agreed to stop quarreling among themselves. Any little spat that they had, they'd settle it among themselves. Go into a huddle. Don't let the enemy know that you got a disagreement. Instead of us airing our differences in public, we have to realize we're all the same family. And when you have a family squabble, you don't get out on the sidewalk. If you do, everybody calls you uncouth, unrefined, uncivilized, savage. If you don't make it at home, you settle it at home. You get in the closet, argue it out behind closed doors. And then when you come out on the street, you pose a common front, a united front. And this is what we need to do in the community and in the city and in the state. We need to stop airing our differences in front of the white man. Put the white man out of our meeting, number one, and then sit down and talk shop with each other. That's all you gotta do. I would like to make a few comments concerning the difference between the Black Revolution and the Negro Revolution. There's a difference. Are they both the same? And if they're not, what is the difference? What is the difference between a Black Revolution and a Negro Revolution? First, what is a revolution? Sometimes I'm inclined to believe that many of our people are using this word revolution loosely, without taking careful consideration what this word actually means and what its historic characteristics are. When you study the historic nature of revolutions, the motive of a revolution, the objective of a revolution, and the result of a revolution, and the methods used in a revolution, you may change words. You may devise another program. You may change your goal and you may change your mind. Look at the American Revolution in 1776. That revolution was for what? For land. How was it? Why did they want land? Independence. How was it carried out? Bloodshed. Number one, it was based on land. The basis of independence. And the only way they could get it was bloodshed. The French Revolution, what was it based on? The landless against the landlord. What was it for? Land. How did they get it? Bloodshed. Was no love lost. Was no compromise. Was no negotiation. I'm telling you, you don't know what a revolution is. Because when you find out what it is, you'll get back in the alley. You'll get out of the way. Come on, man. The Russian Revolution. What was it based on? Land. The landless against the landlord. How did they bring it about? Bloodshed. You haven't got a revolution that doesn't involve bloodshed. And you're afraid to bleed. I said you're afraid to bleed. Long as the white man sent you to Korea, you bled. He sent you to Germany, you bled. He sent you to the South Pacific to fight the Japanese, you bled. You bleed for white people. But when it comes time to seeing your own churches being bombed and little black girls murdered, you haven't got no blood. You bleed when the white man says bleed. You bite when the white man says bite. And you bark when the white man says bark. I hate to say this about us, but it's true. How you going to be nonviolent in Mississippi as violent as you were in Korea? How can you justify being nonviolent in Mississippi and Alabama when your churches are being bombed and your little girls are being murdered, and at the same time you're going to get violent with Hitler and Tojo and somebody else that you don't even know? If violence is wrong in America, violence is wrong abroad. If it's wrong to be violent, defending black women and black children and black babies and black men, then it's wrong for America to draft us and make us violent abroad in defense of her. The Chinese Revolution. They wanted land. They threw the British out, along with the Uncle Tom Chinese. Yeah, they did. They set a good example. When I was in prison, I read an article, and don't be shocked when I say I was in prison. You're still in prison. That's what America means, prison. When I was in prison, I read an article in Life magazine showing a little Chinese girl, 9 years old. Her father was on his hands and knees, and she was pulling the trigger because he was an Uncle Tom Chinaman. When they had the revolution over there, they took a whole generation of Uncle Toms, just wiped them out. And within 10 years, that little girl became a full-grown woman. No more Toms in China. And today it's one of the toughest, roughest, most feared countries on this earth by the white man. because there are no Uncle Toms over there. Of all our studies, history is best qualified to reward all research. And when you see that you got problems, all you have to do is examine the historic method used all over the world by others who had problems similar to yours. And once you see how they got theirs straight, then you know how you can get yours straight. Please. There's been a revolution, a black revolution going on in Africa. In Kenya, the Mau Mau were revolutionaries. They were the ones who made the word uhuru. They were the ones who brought it to the fore. The Mau Mau, they were revolutionaries. They believed in scorched earth. They knocked everything aside that got in their path. And their revolution also was based on land, a desire for land. In Algeria, the northern part of Africa, a revolution took place. The Algerians were revolutionists. They wanted land. France offered to let them be integrated into France. They told France to hell with France. They wanted some land, not some France. And they engaged in a bloody battle. So I cite these various revolutions, brothers and sisters, to show you, you don't have a peaceful revolution. You don't have a turn the other cheek revolution. There's no such thing as a nonviolent revolution. Only kind of revolution that's nonviolent is the Negro revolution. The only revolution based on loving your enemy is the Negro revolution. The only revolution in which the goal is a desegregated lunch counter, a desegregated theater, a desegregated park, and a desegregated public toilet. You can sit down next to white folks on the toilet. That's no revolution. Revolution is based on land. Land is the basis of all independence. Land is the basis of freedom, justice, and equality. The white man knows what a revolution is. He knows that the black revolution is worldwide in scope and in nature. The black revolution is sweeping Asia, sweeping Africa. It's rearing its head in Latin America. The Cuban Revolution, that's a revolution. They overturned the system. Revolution is in Asia. Revolution is in Africa. And the white man is screaming because he sees revolution in Latin America. How do you think he'll react to you when you learn what a real revolution is? You don't know what a revolution is. If you did, you wouldn't use that word. A revolution is bloody. Revolution is hostile. Revolution knows no compromise. Revolution overturns and destroys everything that gets in its way. And you sitting around here like a knot on these folks, no matter how much they hate me. No, you need a revolution. Who ever heard of a revolution where they lock arms, as Reverend Cleage was pointing out beautifully, singing, "We shall overcome"? Just tell me you don't do that in a revolution. You don't do any singing, you're too busy swinging. It's based on land. A revolutionary wants land so he can set up his own nation, an independent nation. These Negroes aren't asking for no nation. They're trying to crawl back on the plantation. When you want a nation, That's called nationalism. When the white man became involved in a revolution in this country against England, what was it for? He wanted this land so he could set up another white nation. That's white nationalism. The American Revolution was white nationalism. The French Revolution was white nationalism. The Russian Revolution too, yes, it was white nationalism. You don't think so? Why you think Khrushchev and Mao can't get their heads together? White nationalism. All the revolutions that's going on in Asia and Africa today are based on what? Black nationalism. A revolutionary is a black nationalist. He wants a nation. I was reading some beautiful words by Reverend Cleave pointing out why he couldn't get together with someone else here in the city. Because all of them were afraid of being identified with black nationalism. If you're afraid of black nationalism, you're afraid of revolution. And if you love revolution, you love black nationalism. To understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro. Back during slavery, there was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house head. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. Why, you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes. When they see this man's house on fire, you don't hear these little Negroes talking about our government is in trouble. They say the government is in trouble. Imagine a Negro, our government. I even heard one say, our astronauts. They won't even let him near the plant. And our astronauts, our Navy, that's a Negro that's out of his mind. That's a Negro that's out of his mind. Just as the slave master in that day used Tom, the house Negro, to keep the field Negroes in check, the same old slave master today has Negroes who are nothing but modern Uncle Toms, 20th century Uncle Toms, to keep you and me in check, keep us under control, keep us passive and peaceful and nonviolent. That's Tom making you nonviolent. It's like when you go to the dentist and the man is going to take your tooth. You're going to fight him when he starts pulling. So they squirt some stuff in your jaw called Novocaine to make you think they're not doing anything to you. So you sit there and because you got all that Novocaine in your jaw, you suffer peacefully. Blood running all down your jaw. And you don't know what's happening because someone has taught you to suffer peacefully. The white man do the same thing to you in the street. When he don't want to put knots on your head and take advantage of you and don't have to be afraid of you fighting back, to keep you from fighting back, he get these old religious Uncle Toms to teach you and me. They're just like Novocaine, suffer peacefully. Don't stop suffering, just suffer peacefully. As Reverend Cleave pointed out, let your blood flow in the streets. This is a shame. And you know he's a Christian preacher. If it's a shame to him, you know what it is to me. There's nothing in our book, the Quran, as you call it, Quran, teaches us to suffer peacefully. Our religion teaches us to be intelligent, be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone puts his hand on you, send them to the cemetery. That's a good religion. In fact, that's that all-time religion. That's the one that Ma and Pa used to talk about. an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, and a head for a head, and a life for a life. That's a good religion. And then anybody, no one resents that kind of religion being taught but a wolf who intends to make you his meal. This is the way it is with the white man in America. He's a wolf, and you're a sheep. Anytime a shepherd, a pastor, teach you and me not to run from the white man, and at the same time teachers don't fight the white man, he's a traitor to you and me. Don't lay down our life all by itself. No. Preserve your life. It's the best thing you got. And if you got to give it up, let it be even Stephen. The slave master took Tom and dressed him well and fed him well and even gave him a little education. Gave him a long coat and a top hat and made all the other slaves look up to him. Then he used Tom to control them. The same strategy that was used in those days is used today by the same white man. He take a Negro, so-called Negro, and make him prominent, build him up, publicize him, make him a celebrity, and then he becomes a spokesman for Negro and a Negro leader. I would like to just mention one thing else quickly, and that is the method that the white man uses, how the white man uses these big guns or Negro leaders against the Black Revolution. They're not a part of the Black Revolution. They're used against the Black Revolution. When Martin Luther King failed to desegregate Albany, Georgia, the civil rights struggle in America reached its low point. King became bankrupt almost as a leader. Plus, even financially, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference was in financial trouble. Plus, it was in trouble, period, with the people when they failed to desegregate Albany, Georgia. Other Negro civil rights leaders of so-called national stature became fallen idols. As they became fallen idols, began to lose their prestige and influence, local Negro leaders began to stir up the masses. In Cambridge, Maryland, Gloria Richardson. In Danville, Virginia, and other parts of the country, local leaders began to stir up our people at the grassroots level. This was never done by these Negroes whom you recognize of national stature. They controlled you, but they never incited you or excited you. They controlled you. They contained you. They kept you on the plantation. As soon as King failed in Birmingham, Negroes took to the streets. King got out and went out to California to a big rally and raised about, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. Come to Detroit and had a march and raised some more thousands of dollars. And recall, right after that, Wilkins attacked King, accused King and the Corps of starting trouble everywhere and then making the NAACP get him out of jail and spend a lot of money. And then he accused King and Corps of raising all the money and not paying it back. This happened. I got it in documented evidence in the newspaper. Roy started attacking King, and King started attacking Roy, and Farmer started attacking both of them. And as these Negroes of national stature begin to attack each other, they begin to lose their control of the Negro masses. And Negroes was out there in the streets. They was talking about, we're going to march on Washington. By the way, and right at that time, Birmingham had exploded, and the Negroes in Birmingham, remember, they also exploded. They began to stab the crackers in the back and bust them upside the head. Yes, they did. That's when Kennedy sent in the troops down in Birmingham. So, and right after that, Kennedy got on the television and said, this is a moral issue. That's when he said he's going to put out a civil rights bill. And when he mentioned civil rights bill and the Southern crackers started talking about they were going to boycott it or filibuster it, then the Negroes started talking about what? We're going to march on Washington, march on the Senate, march on the White House, march on the Congress, and tie it up, bring it to a halt. Don't let the government proceed. They even said they was going to go out to the airport and lay down on the runway and don't let no airplanes land. I'm telling you what they said. That was revolution. That was revolution. That was the black revolution. It was the grassroots out there in the street. Scared the white man to death. Scared the white power structure in Washington, D.C. to death. I was there. When they found out that this black steamroller was going to come down on the Capitol, they called in Wilkins. They called in Randolph. They called in these national Negro leaders that you respect and told them, call it off. Kennedy said, look, y'all letting this thing go too far. And old Tom said, boss, I can't stop it because I didn't start it. I'm telling you what they said. They said, I'm not even in it, much less at the head of it. They said, these Negroes are doing things on their own. They're running ahead of us. And that old shrewd fox, he said, well, if you all aren't in it, I'll put you in it. I'll put you at the head of it. I'll endorse it. I'll welcome it. I'll help it. I'll join it. A matter of hours went by. They had a meeting at the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. The Carlisle Hotel is owned by the Kennedy family. That's the hotel Kennedy spent the night at 2 nights ago. Belongs to his family. A philanthropic society headed by a white man named Stephen Currier called all the top civil rights leaders together at the Carlisle Hotel and told them that by you all fighting each other, you're destroying the civil rights movement. And since you're fighting over money from white liberals, let us set up what's known as the Council for United Civil Rights Leadership. Let's form this council, and all the civil rights organizations will belong to it. And we'll use it for fundraising purposes. Let me show you how tricky the white man is. And as soon as they got it formed, they elected Whitney Young as the chairman. And who you think became the co-chairman? Stephen Currier, the white man. A millionaire. Powell was talking about it down at the Cobo today. This is what he was talking about. Powell knows it happened. Randolph knows it happened. Wilkins knows it happened. King knows it happened. Every one of that so-called Big Six. They know what happened. Once they formed it, with the white man over it, he promised them and gave them $800,000 to split up between the Big Six, and told them that after the march was over, they'd give them $700,000 more. $1.5 million split up between the leaders that you've been following, going to jail for, crying crocodile tears for. And they've nothing but Frank James and Jesse James and brothers. Soon as they got the setup organized, the white men made available to them top public relations experts. Opened the news media across the country at their disposal. And then they began to project these Big Six as the leaders of the march. Originally, they weren't even in the march. You was talking this march talk on Hastings Street. Is Hastings Street still here? On Hastings Street. You was talking the march talk on Lenox Avenue. And down on, Fillmore Street. And Central Avenue. And 42nd Street and 63rd Street. That's where the march talk was being talked. But the white man put the Big Six ahead of it. Made them the march. They became the march. They took it over. And the first move they made after they took it over, they invited Walter Reuther, a white man. They invited a priest, a rabbi, and an old white preacher. Yes, an old white preacher. The same white element that put Kennedy in power. Labor, the Catholics, the Jews, and liberal Protestants. Same clique that put Kennedy in power joined the March on Washington. It's just like when you got some coffee that's too black, which means it's too strong. What you do, you integrate it with cream. You make it weak. If you pour too much cream in, you won't even know you ever had coffee. It used to be hot, it becomes cool. It used to be strong, it becomes weak. It used to wake you up, now it'll put you to sleep. This is what they did with the March on Washington. They joined it. They didn't integrate it, they infiltrated it. They joined it, became a part of it, took it over. And as they took it over, it lost its militancy. They ceased to be angry. They ceased to be hot. They ceased to be uncompromising. Why, it even ceased to be a march. It became a picnic, a circus. Nothing but a circus with clowns and all. You had one right here in Detroit. I saw it on television with clowns leading it, white clowns and black clowns. I know you don't like what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I can prove what I'm saying. If you think I'm telling you wrong, you bring me Martin Luther King and A. Philip Randolph and James Farmer and those other three, and see if they'll deny it over the microphone. No, it was a sellout. It was a takeover. When James Baldwin came in from Paris, they wouldn't let him talk because they couldn't make him go by the script. Burt Lancaster read the speech that Baldwin was supposed to make. They wouldn't let Baldwin get up there because they know Baldwin liable to say anything. They controlled it so tight, they told those Negroes what time to hit town, how to come, where to stop, what sign to carry, what song to sing, what speech they could make and what speech they couldn't make, and then told them to get out of town by sundown. And every one of those Toms were out of town by sundown. Now, I know you don't like my saying this, but I can back it up. It was a circus, a performance. It beat anything Hollywood could ever do. The performance of the year. Ruther and those other three devils should get an Academy Award for the best actors because they acted like they really loved Negroes and fooled a whole lot of Negroes. And the 6 Negro leaders should get an award, too, for the best supporting cast.
Brother Malcolm. Oh my goodness, man. That brother there. Shout out to the brother, man. You know, I really wish I could have met this brother, honestly. I mean, this brother here, this was a true revolutionary brother. This was a good brother. This was a brother about his people. And man, what you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. Brother Malcolm, Dawid, and who else can I put in that category? Them two brothers, just them two brothers right there. I think them two brothers are a couple of the most dynamic brothers. Of course, you know I'm not gonna mention Hamashiach because Hamashiach was the son of the Most High, but I'm talking about as far as being about the people. Of course, Hamashiach was about the people, so that goes without saying. That's why I'm not bringing his name up in this situation because he's in a class by himself. But when it comes to the people, Brother Malcolm and Dawid, I think would be the top two. And I may be wrong. If you got somebody else, put it in the chat. Let it be known. You know, if you got somebody else that you think that should, but them two brothers, you give me those two brothers any day of the week, and I'm rocking. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Let us both of those brothers, man, great brothers, dynamic brothers. But I'm gonna rest there. Go ahead, Doc.
Karnak, the brother definitely had an understanding and knew the plight of our people and some of the issues that were plaguing our people. If Malcolm would have lived, if he was alive today, he'd be getting ready to turn 100 years old. Later in about 6 months. It really would have been something to be able to see him to continue growing. You know, imagine this brother with Torah. You know, if he understood Torah, and if he was applying those commandments to his life, and not just him, like really all of us are. If I get to thinking about it, that's really what we're missing. But yeah, definitely agree with a lot of what he had to say. And sadly, some of the issues that he was faced with, still have us lacking now. Too many gatekeepers that are willing to sell the rest of the people out and go to the oppressor's table. It still happens. So yeah, I digress. What was it? Well, I done lost my train of thought. All right, I digress. All right.
Okay, Kyle, you get it back. Let us know. We're gonna jump to the next video. This is from my dear brother, brother Benaiah, Elder Benaiah, I should say. This is a follow-up to that black tribe in Africa who call themselves Edo, the tribe of Esau. This is the part 2 to that, and I'm gonna let him get into it here. So let's go.
Plus, in Nigeria, there is a remnant of Edomites. I know a lot of people say Esau is the white man, but they do not know African history. Also, I believe a remnant in North Sudan and Saudi Arabia. I do believe that Edo and Idoma are Bantu Hebrews, but not Israelite, but Edomite. The people of Edom currently settled in the Savannah region of Nigeria. They are not a missing race because I come from the tribe of Edom. The
Edomites have a strong attachment to the Aleku, spirit of the ancestors, which is believed to stand as an invisible watchdog of family and communities. Other parts of Edoma practice Central Aleku.
Now note that the red pagan deity that they worship matches the description of Esau that's found in Genesis chapter 25, verse 25, which reads, "And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau."
So ancestral worship is an indispensable aspect of Edoma worldview. The Edomas revere their ancestors.
The spelling has changed over the years from Idumea to Edoma, but the pronunciation is still the same. The name Aduma is still widely used in the present Edoma. Esau, whom the Edomas came from, had 2 wives. He married from the land of Canaan. The first wife was called Ada. Ada is a name that is still commonly used by Edomas. Ada is the first daughter of any family in Edoma.
Me places that I've never been. Oh, charity begin at home.
The name Edom is pronounced as Edom, which means my kind of person. Elah is one of the princes of Edom. He was the son of Ada. But today the spelling of Elah has changed, but some of the people still spell it the old way. My surname is Elah, but the spelling has been changed to Elah. We are the people of Edom. Our tradition is the same with the Old Testament tradition of Israel. We have only one God who is in heaven. We traded in salt and worked with copper, as copper was used as currency at that time. We were told by our fathers that we left our land because of war. We are spread over 3 states in Nigeria. We tease those that went further south that they left us because they went to look for salt.
So there are people in Yemen today and Oman called Kara or Al-Kara. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but it's usually spelled Qarrah, or sometimes by the colonialist, it was pronounced El-Gara or Gara. Now, in the Bible, these are probably the people called Korah, the Edomite Korah, not the, here's another Korah, but the Edomites called Korah. But among these tribes of Korah are that of Esau, who live, here's what Korah looks like. Okay, so the colonialists used to say that the Gara tribes look like Somali and Beja. They're located between Oman and Hadramaut. Actually, they came from Yemen. Supposedly about 600 years ago, they settled in Oman. But they came from Yemen and also from the area called Tahama, which was, I keep talking about, is the land of also Canaana or Canaan. So one of these Esau people also traveled over and settled in East Africa, where they're still called Esau. Now, it's not me that says that these people are Esau. That's what the Arabs say. That's their translation of the biblical Esau. And it's also what the colonials say. So if you look at a colonial text, you will see the people with the name Esau people with the name Esau next to it. And these people live in caves.
You see, according to the scriptures, Esau was the only people to mix with the Horites during the times of old. Therefore, creating a hybrid Horite Edomite offspring who would carry the traits of both Horites and the traits of Esau, all rolled up into one new unique breed of people. And now let's take a look at the definition of the word Horite. According to the Strong's Concordance, which means cave dweller, as the following reference reads, Strong's number H2752, that's Strong's H2752 means Horims or Horites. It means cave dweller or troglodytes. You see, we can find these cave dwellers living among the descendants of Esau in Genesis chapter 36, verse 8, which reads, Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau.
The first wife was called Ada. Ada is a name that is still commonly used by Edomites. Ada is the first daughter of any family in Edoma.
And these people live in caves often, or certain seasons they travel and live in caves, like the Mara right here. I don't know if you see below that, these Mara. Here's the Mara again, an Ethiopic looking people, right? So during certain seasons, they live in caves. And in the Bible, supposedly the name Horite means cave or cave dweller. Okay. But among the Kara are also the people known as, of the Kara, because you will find the names of Esau, like the Jabab is actually, these names are actually the Kara tribal names. Okay, you have Makir, you have Esau, and you have Timin, which is Timan of the Torah. Okay, so these are all tribes of Esau. But there's many other tribes that these Jabab people are related to. Jabab and Makir, and Esau. The Esau, Makir, and Tamim live in Africa as well. So, for example, you have the Makir along the Somali coast next to the Makir is actually the biblical Makir, Machir, son of Manasseh, because the Manasseh tribe or Manasseh also lived there, as well as in Sudan, because the Arabs that came over later, a lot of them were Sulaim bin Mansur or Manasseh. So anyway, there's a whole book that there's various colonial books that give the tribes, again, here they're called the Mashan, the Beit Jabub, the Katan, Isa, the Beit Akak, otherwise known as Agag, the Shemasa or Shamash, Tabak, were called Tiba in the Bible. So there are many tribes found among these groups that are still have the names of the Edomites. So when they crossed over to Africa, we're talking about probably after some of the Somali tribes crossed over after 500 BC into Africa, and then later on moved across Africa like the other groups of Israelites. And the Esau were still call themselves Esau, and are known in to the colonialists, who are the people that actually Britain colonized the Yemen, I guess in the 19th century. And they started writing about the different tribes there. So one of them are the Isa Kara, or Al-Kara, who occupy Oman, but whose tribes also occupied the Yemen, as well as East Africa. So can everybody see this picture of the Al-Kara? I have put it on my Facebook a few times. And the early colonialists like Bertram Thomas had said that they resemble the Somalis and the Beja. So these are kind of the pure Kara compared to there's some other Kara, other clans of Kara that are not as dark or African looking, but these are the pure clans. And to understand what happened with Arabia, let me go down here. So for example, most people think of Arabians as these people who are actually, they call themselves the Janba or Janaba, or not the Janba, but the Janba, which is related to the name Janaba. Okay, the Janaba are actually people further east, and here is a picture of the Janaba. Okay, who were described as kind of thin black people. They're Bedouins, and they're also fishermen in the Omani area, or were. They should be still today. This is a fairly recent picture. But anyway, let me see. I think I need my glasses on, because I have some stuff written here to show what happened. So the Janaba, for example, in ancient times were called Gaba'an. Okay, and they were a Manaean group. The Manaeans and Sabians are people that occupied ancient Yemen and speak a dialect called the Sahadic. They are remnants of the earlier pre-Iranian, pre-Syrian peoples of Arabia. Okay, so these people too, Murad, or people of the Madij, also come from that group. They're mentioned in ancient Sabian and Himyaritic script. The name Himyar or Hamor, excuse me, I just gave it away. Himyar or Humer is the biblical Hamor, which means donkey. Hamor was a king of Canaan, and that region is where the ancient Canaanite people lived, and the area became known as the Wadi Kanana, okay, in the Tahama area of southwest Arabia, which is in Yemen. But first, let me start. Okay, so Bertram Thomas, as I was talking about, he was a colonial observer, administrator, and he was writing about the different tribes of African appearance in Arabia. who actually are descendants of the ancient Sabians and Manaeans. And he said, these tribes have a tradition of African origin, the order of their local antiquity being Shahara, Batahara, Mahara, and Kara. Okay, here's the Kara. The Mara I showed last week, I have them on another page here. Okay, so this year, actually, I learned that the Kara, who I've known about for many years, occupying Oman, have identical clan names of the people in the Horn of Africa. For example, the Sab, Esau, the Makir, the Tamim. They're all tribal names of Africans. But these people live in Oman, and they have been in that area for about 600 years because they immigrated from the Yemen, which is, everybody knows where the Yemen is?
Yes.
Yes,
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Southern Arabia, across from the Horn of Africa, on the same latitude as the Sudan and south of Sudan, of the modern country of Sudan. Okay, so for example, all these different tribes or clans are the names of people of Esau, or Esau, as they call themselves still, the Esau, Isa or Isa. In Arabic, this is the name of Esau, who we in the West have named Esau. The word Esau or Esau means the goat. Okay. So they also live in a place called Dama, or what is called Edom. It does mean the red, or the red place, or the red mountain. They have places called Edom all over the Yemen, extending to even, a little bit north of the Yemen in the Asir region. So these people were the Edomites, who I'm showing you right now.
According to the Bible, God cursed Esau, and so everybody must distance himself from his roots or indeed his name. But as this research effort would show, there is no reason to be ashamed of Esau or his descendants. According to the Bible account, the Edomites, as Esau's descendants became known, established the Edomite Empire that was one of the most famous while it lasted. The Edomites had evolved a complex political structure with the king as its head. Long before the Israelites, that was the favored group, began the clamor for a king. In any case, the origin of Edomites has never been in doubt. The Bible was unambiguous in stating that Esau is Edom. The same Bible also dramatizes the birth of Esau, stating very clearly that he was the twin brother of Jacob, father of the Israelites. Describing him at birth, the Bible said of Esau, "And the first came out red. He was like a hairy garment all over, so they called him Esau. Afterwards, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's head, so his name was called Jacob." Edo, Edomite, Edoma, Idumea are all related words. The Greek called the inhabitants of this region Idumeans, people with reddish skin tone. The ancient name of Edo is Edu. Edu was the progenitor of the Edo or Iduma. Hence the expression Iduma, the father of the Idoma. The royal lines of the Edo have been orally transmitted. Edu begot 6 sons, Anana Bugino, who begot the children of Igumali, Alinagvo, who begot the people of Ogboju, Edom, who begot the people of Adoka, Agabi, who begot the people of Atukpo, AJ, who begot the people of Oglivo, Abibi, who begot the people of Umogidi in Adoka, and Ode, who begot the people of Yala.
And just a side note here, the descendants of Esau would go on to mix with various tribes of Africa, as well as other nations around the world. This is why Esau can be found in many different shapes and colors. He's black in Africa, Arab looking in the Middle East, and white in the Caucasus Mountains. And the next reference reads, the upshoot is that the Horites and Edom had become one people. In addition, the role of Edom in the exile of the 10 tribes, the continued involvement of Edom in their history needs to be kept in mind. Skipping ahead, because of the intermarriages and cultural borrowings between the Edomite families and Horites, It became the norm for their collective association. Red-headed Esau himself was hirsute, a coincidental similarity. It's important to note that both the Horite and Esau lived in the same places. Therefore, if you find the Horites, you'll more than likely find Esau. As the following reference reads, it reads, the Horites in their divisions are listed as part of Edom. In Egyptian inscriptions, the Horite land is referred to as Kar, formerly transliterated as Haran. It says, the Horites were also found in what is now northern Syria, Turkey, and Mesopotamia. Archaeological finds indicate that they spoke a language called Hurrian, similar to that later known as Urartu. According to I.M. Dekonoff and S. Satorskin, the Hurrian and Urartan languages are related to the Northeast Caucasian tongues. That's important, fam. We'll come back to that later. But let's keep reading. It says, the Horites in Hebrew are referred to as Horim, or in archaeological terms as Hurrians. The Bible recalls the Horites as dwelling around Mount Seir, which was to the south of Canaan. All right, fam. So in the Bible, Mount Seir is synonymous with Esau. In other words, if you find Mount Seir, more than likely you'll find Esau's hairy descendants called Edomites. Now we note that the name Seir literally means hairy and shaggy, which is befitting of the descendants of Esau, because remember, in the scripture, Esau was described as being hairy and red. Genesis chapter 25, verse 25, which reads, and the first came out red. He was like a hairy garment all over. So they called his name Esau. Now consider this. Esau was so hairy that his brother Jacob once put hairy goat skin on his neck and his arms to impersonate Esau. Think about it, fam. The hair of a goat. Now that's one red, hairy dude living on a mountain called Hairy and Shaggy, with a people called cave dwellers on Mount Seir. Now, family, did you know that there was more than one Mount Seir in the Bible, aka Hairy Mountain? In fact, there's the Mount Seir that most people are familiar with, which is located in the territory of Esau, which is also the home of the Horites. However, there's also another Mount Seir in the territory of Judah, just west of the Valley of the Rephaim, also known as the Valley of the Giants. And for this, let's take a look at the encyclopedia in the Bible Hub, which reads, number 1, the Mount and the land of Seir are alternative appellations of the mountainous tract which runs along the eastern side of Arabah, occupied by the descendants of Esau, who succeeded the ancient Horites. Number 2, which is the second Mount Seir, it reads, Seir, a landmark on the boundary of Judah. Now, let's take a look at the Smith's Bible Dictionary, which reads, Seir, it means hairy, shaggy. And number 1 reads, we have both the land of Seir, and it says, it is the original name of the mountain range extending along the east side of the Valley of Arabah, from the Dead Sea to the Atlantic Gulf. And then 2, which is the second Mount Seir, it says, Mount Seir, an entirely different place from the foregoing. In other words, it's different from the first one. One of the landmarks on the north boundary of the territory of Judah. And for that, you can read Joshua chapter 15, verse 10. So as stated before, you can indeed find 2 Mount Seirs in the Bible. However, did you know that there was a third Mount Seir? One that was discovered in an unsuspecting place. That's right. That's right. This third Mount Seir, one whose people would shape the very trajectory of mankind all around the world. For this third Mount Seir is located in none other than the Caucasus Mountain. And for this, let's take a look at the Jewish Encyclopedia, and let's take a look at the definition of the word Caucasus or Caucasian. And it reads, the exact number of Caucasian Jews is not easily determined. Some of them in southern provinces have adopted the Mohammedan religion, while others in Georgia have embraced Christianity. Let's drop down to the highlighted paragraph. It reads, Mountain Jews of the Caucasus. Hasdai ben Isaac, in his letters to the king of the Khazars in about 960 AD, says that according to a tradition, the Khazars formerly lived in the mountains of Seir. Seir in the eastern Caucasus. In other words, they lived in Mount Seir in the Caucasus Mountains. You can also find this in the Jewish Encyclopedia and descriptive record of the history of the religion, which says the same thing, where it repeats this statement that the Khazars formerly lived in the mountains of Seir. That's Mount Seir. Seir in the eastern Caucasus. Miller is of the opinion that the Jews of the Caucasus introduced Judaism into the kingdom of the Khazars. And the next reference reads, Mountain Jews are those of the Caucasian Jews who live in villages in some towns of the provinces Dagestan, Turks, Kuban, and in the governments of Baku and Yasivlipol, and who speak an Iranian tongue, a dialect of the Tat. Skipping to the next paragraph, it reads, Hasdai ben Isaac, in his letters to the king of the Khazars in about 960 AD, says that according to a tradition, the Khazars formerly lived in the mountains of Seir, Seir in the eastern Caucasus. Miller is of the opinion that the Jews of the Caucasus introduced Judaism into the kingdom of the Khazars, and that the Jews of Dagestan originated in Azerbaijan. And the next reference reads, the territory of Seir began at a distance of 3 days' journey north of Derbent. It was AD 960 inhabited by Christians who yet lived on the best terms with Muslims. As you can see, fam, just to give you an idea of where Mount Seir was in the Caucasus Mountains, it was a 3-day journey north of Derbent. So let's take a look to see where Derbent is in the Caucasus. And for that, let's take a look at the Encyclopedia Britannica and look up the word Derbent. It says Derbent, city, southeastern Dagestan Republic, southwestern Russia. The city lies in the gap between the Caspian Sea and the Caucasus Mountains at their closest approach. And here's a map, fam, where you can see the city of Derbent, close to the Caspian Sea, close to the foothills of the Caucasus Mountains, aka the third Mount Seir. And remember, fam, Seir means hairy and shaggy, and was the home of Esau, who was hairy all over. And it was also home of the Horites, who were cave dwellers. Now, fam, did you know that the Caucasians who live in this region are the hairiest people on the planet? So we learned that Esau mixed with the Horites, which means cave dweller, and that these Horites consisted of two groups, the East Horites and the West Horites. And we learned that Esau initially mixed with the East Horites in Mount Seir. We also learned that the West Horites, also called Hurrians, spoke a Caucasian language, meaning that the language of the Horites can be found in the Caucasus Mountains. And with that, Israel, stay tuned, like, subscribe, and stay blessed, and shalom.
Once again, shout out to the Elder Benaiah for doing the research and putting out the videos for us to review. Praises to the Abba. Man, Abba is magnificent. This information was very interesting. We talked about the Edu Psalm on the first video. And you can't really forget that Esau mixed with the Horites, and they said these are the hairiest people in the world in this particular area. So there got to be some kind of connection there. We'll let the elder continue to do the work and bring out the information. He's equipped for it. He has all those books and is able to get into the information. So I'm gonna rest there, but told everybody to the Abba. Naki.
Khan. Yeah, very interesting video. One of the sources that he was using, I believe you and I are friends with Dr. Richie.
Mhm.
And she's got a lot of videos up on YouTube as well. I believe her channel is it's called Mount Hebrew. Let me look it up real quick. But like I said, she's got some she tackles tribes that she says are Israelites. Uh talks about tribes that are Philistines. She
Mm.
talks about tribes that are Edomites.
Mm.
Sometimes it's not always clear. Uh, but if the listeners want to check her out, her channel is called Mount Meru Arts, Music and History. Just type that in on your YouTube search and should pull up a lot of interesting videos as well. I'm still I don't know what to think with the information. We've talked about this before, and shortly after we watched the video he spoke about before with the Edo people being Edomites, there
Mm.
were some other videos that I had watched where it was some people from the Edo tribe that were saying that no, that they weren't Edomites, that they were also the same people as, well, similar related people as the Igbo.
Mm.
So, like I said, I don't know. I don't know what to think. What I do know is that uh, we're in the last days.
Mm.
The Abba has seen fit for us to wake up out of darkness and live a life that's pleasing to Him, so that we may rule with His Son when He returns.
Indeed.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes, indeed. All praises to the Abba. Like I said, the elder will continue to bring us information, and we'll check it when it comes out and see what's what. Um, hmm. That's interesting that some of the Edo are denying that, and this guy says emphatically he's from the tribe of Edom. And
Yeah, yeah. This individual was from the Edo tribe as well. So, I would be interested on what Ron Dalton has to say about it. And the reason I cite him, I just saw a video with he and Elder Benaiah, doing a joint video maybe a couple of weeks ago. But I
yeah,
know that Ron Dalton, holds to the fast that E1B1A descendants are descendants of Israel. And, from what I have seen, the tribe of Edu are also E1B1A. So,
hmm. Not
I'm
E1,
not
B1B.
sure. I thought it was E1B1A
Yeah,
that they were a part of, but if they're E1B1B, that would seal the deal.
yeah. I mean, if it's E1, B1B, that would make sense because uh, even though, ironically, Jacob was given E1, B1A, and then from Jacob you get E1, B1B. Well,
Mm-hmm.
not from Jacob, but from Esau you get E1, B1B. So even though I guess because I don't know what the premise is behind that, but yeah, he Jacob got A and Esau got B. So if he came
Mm-hmm.
as a B, then it should be Edom for sure. So that's crazy because it's literally one digit off. It's one digit in between us. That's between us.
Yeah,
So
kind of. God.
They were twins. Well, they were brothers either way.
Hmm.
So you and your brother would be that close. That marker would just be that similar that it could be, just that one little piece. So, but interesting stuff. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It'll all be told in the end, and we may be surprised all together when we figure out, who was doing what and who those people were. So,
God. I mean, it would make perfect sense that Esau is amongst us. It would make. I mean, it I don't know, just different things that we can read in the scriptures, like the wheat and the tares growing together and not being dealt with until the end. Like, I remember us speaking about that and drawing a parallel between Esau and Jacob.
right. Indeed, indeed. Well, praises to the Abba. It's right at midnight. It's after midnight, I should say, 12:08 Eastern time here. So we'll go ahead and close this on out, and we will resume tomorrow with the scripture reading, as well as we'll probably have another video to review. Um, and I gotta say, shout out to the elder brother Malcolm. At 100 years old, I would have loved to met this brother, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to seem like a man worshiper, but I just know that man, this brother, it's always the Ready Brothers, man. It's be the Ready Brothers. Now Malcolm X, man, it be them brothers, man, that be about that action, what I'm saying? So, yeah, kind. All right, we'll go ahead and close out. Praises to the Ava. Uh, Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 12 and verse number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Once again, in the conclusion of the whole matter, we are to fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. At the end of the day, when it is all said and done, all the dust is settled, and all the smoke is cleared, we will be judged on whether we have feared the Most High and kept His commandments. Why? Because this is the whole duty of man. I am your Akazaki Yahu, joined by my most esteemed Akenaniah, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem to the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say Shalom, Wa Baruchim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, under one covenant, back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone, with our enemies, our adversaries, and all those who hate us under our feet. Until that day come, shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom, Mr. Picard.
All praises to the Abba. Praise